Hello, Adrienne Gibson here from Jazz Karen Astrology, and I'm going to talk today about the full moon in Libra that is happening tomorrow at 8:21 p.m. tomorrow evening, Eastern Standard Time. Um, yeah, it's a good moon. It's a big moon. Big things happening for all of us. Hopefully, you all are feeling the changes coming from within. And I'm not going to waste any more time and get right to the chart. And here we go. So, yeah, full moon in Libra. The moon is opposing the sun uh, in Libra. It is, so Libra is our relationships, and it's really how we get to see ourselves. We express ourselves, we say something, and the reaction that we get from other people shows us, if you said something, we've all done this, where we've said something in a way that is probably not the kindest way, and the reaction that we get shows us, oh, I said that in a way because it elicited a reaction that was not what we were looking for. And then we make an adjustment for the next time that we interact. So Libra is really important. This is how we see ourselves. And so I'm calling this moon the mirror. And essentially, what's happening is we had a new moon over in Aries with the eclipse. So it was an intense energy where we were really beginning a new sense of self, beginning to make changes, explore ourselves in a different way, really to discover who we really are. We've been going through this long journey of change, and change is slow. But we are yeah, we're changing how we've had our relationships. We had a year and a half with the nodes in Aries and Libra, and we began to stand up for ourselves and really figure out what we wanted in life, and we stopped being so subservient um, in our relationships. Many of us have made big changes in our relationships, things that we will tolerate, things that we have to adjust in ourselves. Lots of this energy is happening because we are growing and we are changing. Pluto has been through the sign of Capricorn and is now into Aquarius. And in Capricorn, these old structures that we've created, the way we see our reality is dissolving. A new reality is coming, Pluto and Aquarius. And in this new reality, what's happening is we are beginning to discover what our individual selves are. We are moving away from fitting into a structure that is like predefined for us. We have very particular jobs you can go into. It's almost like it's been the world is the way that it is, and we have to fit into the world. And this new world I see as a more individuated um, way of being. Like each individual has a very particular purpose and way we're supposed to be. And for, I mean, probably thousands of years, we've all been fitting into a mold. And now we get to create the mold of who we are. We become ourselves, and then the world is recreated based on who we each are as individuals. And I mean, I say that, and um, I don't know how, we've not ever experienced it. This is very, very new. I've heard people say that this new cycle that we're moving into is about changing like a 12,000 year planet cycle. We're in a new cycle that started, and it's many, many cycles that are beginning and and ending and in different areas. But this is something that's very, very new. So, um, yeah, I'm calling it the mirror. So we've started this new cycle. And when you get to an opposition, this is when we've made changes, we've done some internal adjustments, we feel different. And now we're taking this different self into our relationship. So perhaps we act differently and we'll get a reaction, responding from the people, our bosses, that'll be a little bit different, and it will show us how our behavior has changed the way people react. And so that's what's happening in this moon. We've begun a new cycle of self, and we are at the point where we're putting it out into the world where people can react to it and see it. We will go through another adjustment phase when we get to the scorpionic inconjunct in a few days. So, what's new? A couple things are new. Um, Neptune has moved into Aries, and this happened right after the eclipse. I believe it was the next day, or even maybe later on that same day. But Aries has moved in, Neptune has moved into Aries. And what is that? It's like the ending and the beginning. I've called it the Alpha and the Omega. This is a new cycle really beginning. We're at the starting gates. Now, at 0 degrees, 29 minutes, where we haven't really moved into the process. I like to say that we are in the birth canal here. And I say that because Neptune is going to go retrograde and it's going to come back into Pisces. We have some more information from source that we are collecting. And then I believe it is in February of 2026 that both Saturn and Neptune will enter Aries at the 0 point, and they'll be conjunct. And that, I believe, is really the beginning of this next cycle. The starting gates will be up and we'll be off into a new space. But I'm calling this particular area the we're human, we're the new human, we're in the birth canal. And in this place, for any of us that have had babies, the baby comes out a little ways and then back in, and it's a back and forth movement, and all kinds of changes are happening within this child, as you can imagine, being in the birth canal. We are, being squished and pushed and prodded and everything's being reshaped as we work our way through. And I feel like this is kind of the energy that we're all experiencing. There are a lot of discomforts. We may be having physical discomforts in our body. I know my hand's been hurting for the last couple of days. Today it actually feels much better. But we're going through emotional upheavals, and we're having all kinds of different awarenesses pop in. And I see it as a birth process. We're in the birth process of something new, but we have not actually been born yet. The other thing that's new is Mercury has gone direct. It's been direct for a couple of days. It's still in Pisces, and it is in this nice, huge conjunction that we still have here in Pisces. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, Mercury is now going forward. We're experiencing a new consciousness. I don't know how other people are experiencing it, but my awareness has increased. Um, it's an interesting thing for me to be doing these moon reports because as I do them, every one that I do, my consciousness grows. I get a deeper understanding, and then I'm sharing that with all of you. So our awareness is growing, and I'm sure this is happening to everybody on all kinds of different levels because we're all in different places in our development. Venus will soon go direct. It's going to go direct, I think, right after this moon. And so everybody's moving forward again, at least for a little bit of time. Let's talk about this big Pisces stellium. So Pisces is the energy source. This is where everything that moves into Pisces dissolves and then is born anew in Aries. So this is like how would I describe it? I look at it like almost like I've described it before as the car wash. We have our experiences, and now the experience comes from begins to end. It dissolves, everything dissolves back into the energy source from whence it came, and that energy is there to bring on new energy because energy can't be created or destroyed. It can just change forms. And so this is a form change. And if you look at these planets here, we're talking about Mercury. So our consciousness, the way we perceive reality is shifting. The North Node is there. So this is who we are becoming. And Saturn is there, and Saturn is the energy that crystallizes and creates reality and holds things in its place. And so, I mean, you can look at Saturn at all kinds of different levels. That's one of the levels. It's also the opposite of Cancer, and as such, it becomes the container that holds our emotions. It's like this structure that's inside ourselves that keeps us in um, at an equilibrium. Um, it's the more experiences that we have, we become used to them. It's like we are we create a container that allows us to hold those emotions in check. Uh, it's almost like I would describe it as like going into like a scary movie, let's say that. And the first time we may be frightened, just scared to death. And then the next time we go into a scary movie, because we've had an experience with it, we know that nothing is going to happen with us. So we've sort of built this skin, this layer of protection around ourselves that allows us to tolerate it just a little bit more. And over time, perhaps we enjoy scary movies. I'm not one of those people, but it's that example that I'm using is that over time we build a thick skin, a container that can hold our emotions and it holds our reality together. And this is happening to all of us on all kinds of different levels. And Venus is retrograde. So when Venus is retrograde, Venus is about how we survive in the world. How we survive in the world translates to what we need. What we need translates to what we value. Venus can also it's the ruler of both Taurus and Libra. And so it is related to how we relate to ourselves, how we treat ourselves, and then again, how we treat other people. And so it's interesting because Venus is um, in conjunct right now to the moon. Venus is also ruling the moon. And really what it's saying is we are dissolving this, the way we've related, the way we've received perhaps the energy from other people. And I would say that that would have to do with the fact that we are acting differently. Sun in Aries. We are exploring new ways of being, and we are sharing that, and we're dissolving essentially the old way of being. So this is kind of the energy that's happening with this stellium. We are dissolving a lot. Values and thought processes, perception, these things are baseline for changing. You know, for if once these things dissolve, they'll become anew in moving through Aries. So I see this as a very important thing that's happening. I also think I want to talk a little bit about how there's, you know, a shadow side of Pisces and then the higher vibration of Pisces. And the shadow side is about illusion and perhaps flooding when something is destroyed. We have this emotional flooding that happens, and we kind of lose our shit. And this is part of what this container is about. We've had a lot of flooding. Our world is dissolving before our very eyes, and I know people are upset and concerned, and we're having to be strong within ourselves. Now, the other vibration of Pisces is like this very higher point of view. This is like the Christ consciousness, the God energy, which talks about compassion and universal love and acceptance and yeah, forgiveness. And these are also the energies that are happening. It's coming into our consciousness. We're weaving it into the fabric of who we are. And the North Node in Pisces, we're just beginning this process, but I think that this process describes who we are becoming. We're leaving behind this old paradigm where it's been kind of like the dog eat dog world. And not that we don't have these higher energies happening, but it's not the norm. It's not the world that we're actually used to dealing with. And so I see this energy as coming in to our reality with the new human. Now you realize that all the sun has recently been through this Piscean energy and is now into Aries. The moon has also been. Some of these other planets haven't been through recently, particularly the outer planets. So the next thing I want to talk about is the sun in Chiron conjunct right there. They're conjunct. The sun is 19 minutes ahead, but earlier on this day, which is tomorrow morning, because I'm hosting this, I'm recording it on the 11th. So sometime tomorrow morning it will be exact, and then by the time the moon hits, it'll be 19 minutes past. And Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron basically is saying that in the sign of Aries is that we are all wounded. We carry a wound of not being able to express our true selves. We've all had to put on some sort of mask or conform to the societal norms so that we can survive in the world. And in Aries, we are we're breaking out of that, and we are stepping into our true selves so that we can experience it. And it's a scary thing, you know. We're having to do a lot of trial and error. it's an old way of being. Back when we all lived in caves, when in very tribal communities, we had to rely on each other. And in these modern times, we've evolved to a point where we're all living in separate houses and such things. Yes, we do rely on each other still. It's just very much hidden because it's uh, woven into the society. Like we go to the grocery store, are we relying on farmers? Yes, we are. Etc. The whole world is still there, but we've still not stepped into this true place of who we are. And this is what I believe this new moon in Aries that happened 2 weeks ago is about. We are stepping into this true self. And there's a lot of information out there that the new human is evolving. I believe by 2027, the new human will be here. We're going to have build a new society. Everything is coming anew, but we're having to work on the individual level right now. And this is our sun and moon in this configuration right now. So I think that the sun conjunct Chiron then is showing us that we are beginning a new cycle. Really, the sun moving into Aries at this time is really beginning a new cycle of healing ourselves, our wound, and then by us healing that wound, it helps other people to heal the exact same wound, the wounded healer. Next thing I want to talk about that's big is this Mars up here in Cancer, Pluto down here in Aquarius. So Mars is coming back into the opposition. Mars and Pluto have already been in opposition. Mars retrograded back and now it's moving forward again, and it won't be long and it will be in the exact opposition. And the energy will be intense. So what are we talking about here? Mars is how we act upon our instincts. Like, we are instinctual beings. Our DNA, our sense of self, we have desires, and we act upon them. Very often, and in the past, we have been acting because the outside world says we should act in a particular way. And this has been shifting. And Mars retrograde in Cancer at this time is really helping us to learn to act, particularly in the retrograde form, to really learn to act from within, from our emotional field, from the way that we feel inside our bodies, instead of the outside world. And so we've had a retrograde 5 months of really learning to feel what's coming through the body, and now we're working toward that. Pluto in Aquarius is helping us to confront our individuality. Are we going to be like everybody else, or are we going to be ourselves? And to see who we really are. Now, when Pluto is in Aquarius, the direction of evolution is the opposite sign. So 3 degrees Leo, right around here, which will be where Mars will line up in the exact opposition, is the direction of the soul. And the direction of the soul is really saying to step into our hearts, to become our authentic selves. No more masking. Let's try to discover who we are. And this can be difficult. This is a very confrontative energy. These opposing oppositions like this are like, I call it the swinging back and forth between the poles, like a pendulum. So we may, it's like just moving back and forth until we can find balance. And so we'll experience the extremes. We may experience complete isolation because people can't take who we are, or we will come from ourselves, or we'll not feel from the outside. We'll be concerned about how we're acting. All of these things are possible, but it's all in this energy to create a balance between these two signs. Another thing I want to say about Pluto and Mars. So Pluto would be the soul, and Mars is like the lower octave of Pluto. It's how we act on Pluto's desires. So Pluto in Aquarius wants us to individuate. We're really learning to become our true authentic selves. And Mars in Cancer, which is an interesting, similar kind of energy, is saying that we have to act from within. So it's really pulling us in the same direction, and we're integrating these two parts, coming together, acting from within our emotional field and individuating at the same time. So the next thing that I'd like to talk about is Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It expands everything that it comes in contact with. You can see it if you were to look at the planets. Jupiter is the largest of the planets, very big energy. And like I said, it expands everything that it comes to contact with. It is also the right brain. And the right brain is the more flowy part of the brain. It's the intuitive side of the brain. It's where we get the knowing that we don't know exactly how we know. We just know. It really comes from within, from this intuition, and is very closely linked to Pluto, the Neptunian field, this place that's outside the physical world, which is very left brain and analytical and ordered. And so Pluto in Gemini really is saying we are expanding our consciousness, the way that we see the world. If you look at the sign Gemini, it's like two lines. One is the external world, and the other is the subconscious. You know, Mercury rules Gemini, and Mercury was the god that could go between the worlds and bring information back and forth. And so Jupiter and Gemini is really expanding that. I don't know if you all are having dreams or just like big moments of understanding things and not knowing where it comes from. I know I've been experiencing this kind of energy, and Jupiter is responsible for it, Jupiter and Gemini. And it's squaring the nodes. It's also squaring Mercury, sorry, in Pisces. And so it's kind of like similar energy. It's like we're experiencing this expansion of the way the energy source is expressing through each of us. Um, and yeah, Jupiter is squaring the nodes. The nodal axis is here. When Jupiter squares the nodes in a natal chart, it points to a skip step. It's like we are integrating our past self, which would be, whoops, I'm going to get it smaller, which would be the south node. It's how we've been in the past. And we're moving and integrating this new sense of self. So this past sense of self is in Virgo. And I like to describe Virgo in this way. If Pisces is the whole, the oneness, then Virgo is when you take the oneness and separate it out to all of its parts. So we would do this for understanding, for making things easier, so that we can understand why we're doing it. It's also ruled by Mercury, so it's very ordered energy. And I think that what this energy says is that in the past, we have seen ourselves, the nodes, the moon and the nodes being how we see ourselves, our self-image, through the eyes, through the lens of separation. And through the lens of separation, we can feel alienated. We can, yeah, we are, don't see ourselves as good enough. Sometimes we see ourselves as better than others. But we're not, it makes it difficult to see the eyes, see life and ourselves through this vision of the whole, which is this Piscean energy, this energy of having compassion and self-love and love for all life, really. And if you look out in the world around us, we aren't living life in that way, particularly now with the breakdown that we see happening. You don't see a lot of Piscean values out through our eyes. I mean, you kind of do because there are people coming together to help and all of those things, but the separation is really very loud right now. So this square between the nodes is basically saying that we've skipped a step. And I believe that this skipped step is like understanding that the consciousness isn't just the Geminian side, but you have to take the whole picture, both the subconscious and the reality consciousness that we are seeing. And the resolution node here is the North Node. Essentially is the future self, acceptance, accepting of what is. Accepting, another way of saying it could be the letting go of the way that we think that things should be and just accept things for how they are. I got a couple more things to talk about. Let's talk about this kite that's happening. So there's a kite, it's the opposition between Mars and Pluto. And there's also this grand trine, which is the South Node, Uranus, and Pluto. And this grand trine is showing an integration energy between this breaking apart of old value structures, and also this moving away from seeing ourselves through the eyes of separation. And it's interesting, the ruler of the South Node here is in Pisces. And so we're dissolving this way that we've done things through the eyes of separation. And the ruler is with Pisces, so we're starting to get the consciousness, aligning the consciousness with the Piscean value, the value of wholeness. And so this kite, the kite energy is sort of like the way to rise to the surface. It's an energy that's it's positive energy, and it gives us the way to really rise ourselves up. And basically what it's saying is to rise ourselves up out of this conundrum we've been in, is to really follow the world from inside ourselves. And I think that this is really one of the basic energies that's happening, that we can't be following the external world anymore. The external world is dissolving, and if we continue, it's like a sinking ship. If the ship is going down, you have to get off of it. And I think that this Mars in Cancer is really showing us how to do that. It's pointing the way toward acting from our inner worlds. We've been building this strong emotional structure that will support our inner world. And as the external world dissolves, we can act from this place. One more thing here. I just marked off a few things I wanted to talk about and wrote them down. There is a finger of God aspect here. And it is between, one in conjunct is with Venus, the Venus-Saturn conjunction, and the other one is with Uranus. And this is the finger of God. These are talking about some hidden energies that are really not related. It's like the physical world and then this energy that's coming from a place that we can't really see. It turns out that this Uranus energy in Taurus, our values are really important to the way that we act and the way that we perceive the world. And as we are breaking free from the value system, the values that we've held, new ones will develop, and hence we have Venus getting ready, is retrograde now in Pisces, dissolving all the values that are no longer serving us, and then we'll go forward here very shortly, and we will begin to work on new values when Venus moves into Aries. So this finger of God is saying that really these crises that we may be experiencing are having to do with the breaking free from values, and also it's really both sides, breaking free of values and aligning with values that are coming from spirit. And then the boomerang point, that which will help us is to really shine the light on who we truly are, and really begin to shine this image of who we see ourselves as. We're really shining this, expressing this trueness into our relationships, hence the mirror that I've been calling this moon. So in conclusion, we are healing an old wound of being able to step into ourselves. We are becoming who we are. We are in the birth canal of becoming our true selves. We're learning who we are. We're learning to discover the characteristics of who we are. We are experiencing a shift in perception. We're learning to act within, and we are dissolving the old values. And this is what I see for this moon. So I would say be strong all. Much love to everybody. And we'll move through this together. So let me take this down. And I'd like to say I have a pretty in-depth moon report that I've written out. I share it on my Substack. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. You'll find the details. I go into all the alignments in pretty big detail, and a putting it together package. Also, if you're interested in having a reading with me, I will put my website in the comment section below, as well as the link to my Substack. And I really thank you all for listening to my perspectives on what's happening. Take care.